Well, now that you know what the title is, I didn't announce it the first part because I didn't want to destroy the analogy. But now that you know the title, The Sky is Blue, this is part 2. And this one's going to get kind of interesting as well, possibly even more interesting than the last one. And let me begin by repeating what kind of took place. I was asked, should we really be bringing the book of the law, the Father's Bible? Should we just be expecting to put it in place? And where does the Bible say that we should expect to do that? Bring the Father's kingdom, a government, to earth. His government on earth, he's in charge. He sets the rules. He's the legislator. He's the executive. He's the judicial. He's in charge of everything. Why? And it's smart because he's kind of the creator and he has a holy mind. Holy means set apart. He's perfect. He will not hurt anybody. He keeps his promises. He's a good king. So yes, we should be bringing that heavenly realm, that kingdom, that government, that system of law and justice, that system built on love. It should come to earth. Those of us who have lost that feeling in our hearts, we need to bring that back in people. Otherwise, we may completely lose things, and we don't want to do that. I don't want to be under the rule of these people that want to bring Satanism all around us. All right, so let me repeat that what I said to this person who emailed me. It kind of surprised me that they didn't see the picture that I see, but I've realized at that point I really had to bring this forward with more color, let's say. So my analogy was this, that is the sky blue? And does there have to be a label or a big giant stamp? If you look up to the sky, would there be a big stamp that says, this sky is blue? Or can you just assume that because the color is blue, that maybe it's a blue sky? So let's take it from there. And let's say that what if there once was a label or stamp on the sky that said, this sky is blue, and people who wanted to change the color had slowly erased that stamped section of the sky long ago so they could start slowly changing the color from blue to a color they like. Well, imagine the sneaky rich control freaks that we have today. You can picture some of the faces and some of the names maybe. But picture them standing behind the clouds where you can't see them, scrubbing the letters off of the nice blue sky frantically, trying to get rid of us pesky believers. All right, trying to get rid of us pesky blue sky people. And some of you might say, well, they're already doing that. Haven't you seen the chemtrails? Okay, all right. But yeah, what if it once really said, the sky is blue, in huge letters across the sky? This sky is blue. What if the Bible had a giant label saying, this is your law system if you want to keep your freedoms and have a loving society? What if the Bible had a sign that says, this is the book that you should go by to bring the kingdom of heaven to earth? Well, but then we'd let the super rich erase that label from the Bible and from our minds. That's the part we're trying to show people. Because the super rich have basically done that. They've erased the whole concept that Bible is a government system for us. So think about this part. Those of you who have some knowledge of the scriptures, before Samuel, would folks have needed any reminders that the scriptures protected them? Now the question again was, should we be expecting the Bible somewhere? Is there a Bible passage? Is there a verse that tells us to bring the Father's kingdom to earth? Well, does it actually have to say that the Bible is to be put in place on earth as it is in heaven? Well, let me ask you a question. Does the Bible say that by faith ye are saved? Oh, it sure does. And in lots of places too. But what is our faith supposed to be in that will, quote, save us, unquote? Can a neutral ground authority save us? Or how about an evil authority? No, only a good, righteous authority can save us from a wicked one. And so, if you were to cling to that righteousness, its power, its authority, and the name under which it is offered us, are you not looking forward to a day when that authority will rule completely over the evils we want saved from? Are we not waiting for the day that someday that authority will remove all of the evils out of our lives and we will have peace and tranquility forever and ever? That's the concept of the Bible. The whole concept of the Bible is to show us that the Father's authority is there. We just need to implement it, put it in place, and we will be rid of evil forever. Well, why not have it here on earth? So if we are hoping that that Bible can somehow give us a fresh new start without tyrants, without evil people, without crooks and criminals, if so, are we not then trusting and helping with all our heart that this system of goodness really exists in heaven? And we'd like to get a start on bringing that system to earth for our loved ones as soon as possible? What a beautiful picture that would be. That would be a beautiful sky is blue, wouldn't it be? When I said in part 1 that we should write, quote, "This Bible is suitable for everyday use in governing my loved ones," unquote, I was thinking of this passage here in 2 Timothy 3:16, which says, quote, "All Scripture is given by inspiration of Elohim, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness," unquote. So is this official verification that we are to build the kingdom of heaven here on earth? Oh, it sure does sound like it to me. Well, only if we truly have the faith to do so. Otherwise, we won't want to, and our Yahweh-given free will find reasons to not try to advance such a kingdom on earth. In other words, our old nature will be ruling over us rather than our new nature. Are we tired of the wicked ruining our blue skies for ourselves and our children? Are we tired of man-made laws at the same time that always come down on us like a concrete ceiling or concrete sky? Let me ask you folks this question, and we'll sort of, like a teacher might erase the blackboard. Some of you older folks remember the blackboards from years ago, and they erased the whole blackboard. We're going to start something new. Well, let me ask you this question. Does a cereal bowl have to say, quote, "cereal bowl," unquote, right on it in big letters before you can pour your Rice Krispies into it? Does the Bible have to literally say, quote, "construct a law system and kingdom on earth according to this book," unquote? Or can we, by learning to love that book and all that we learn from it, simply want to create a beautiful society according to its pages anyway? Let me ask this question then. Why do we not want to help build such a glorious system of brotherly harmony in this way? That's the question. Why not? Fear. Fear is why not. Come of a lack of faith that it'll work, we have fear to stand in that realm. We have fear that we don't want to for several reasons. Pride gets in the way. There's a lot of different reasons why we do not want to then focus on that Bible as being a proper rule book that we can go by. That's the trouble. There's too many of us that don't have a confidence in that system. It's possible that a lot of us haven't been punished enough by the system we're under to want to look to that system. We haven't been through the ringer hard enough yet. It does seem that, like the Bible is true, that in the end times, the Father says, "I will leave in the midst of thee an afflicted and poor people who shall trust in the name of Yahweh." And again, what does name mean? Name means authority. They shall trust in the authority under that name of Yahweh. Why? Because we realize it's a million times better than the one that's oppressing us, killing us, slowly depopulating us. So again, does the Bible have to have a stamp that says we have to build a kingdom like the heavenly? No, in fact, it cannot do that in a straight-out fashion. Otherwise, there would be a punishment for not doing so, which would defeat the purpose of the Father's free will that He gave us. And let me explain. The Bible itself is the law book. It's the government system. It is the system opposing the beast's system of governance and rule. Now, the Father gave us a free will to choose what we want to live under. Do we want to live under His rule, or do we want to live under some created rule of Satan and mankind? In other words, do you want the Creator's rules or do you want the creature's rules? And of course, Satan and all the other created hosts, everyone wants to write his own rules. But every time man tries to write his own rules, he always oppresses his neighbor. Always. 6,000 years we have perfect records showing every time man gets away from the Bible and writes his own rules, he oppresses his neighbor. He doesn't care. He finds a way to remove the care that he had in his heart and oppress his neighbor. As I've often said, the elite, they have an actual ceremony for this called the cremation of care, where they teach people, don't care about your neighbor. Come with us. Let's all oppress the others, and we'll be the elite. They'll be the peasantry. Man always creates an evil, oppressive system. So, in having said that, let's get back to the question. Does the Bible have to have a stamp that says we have to build a kingdom like the heavenly? No, because actually, if the Father did that, he would remove the free will from us in choosing, do we want his rule system or do we want any other rule system that Satan or mankind has ever created? He says, if you want my rule system, there's a reward for that. There's a reward for that for all eternity. I will make sure you have all the things you've ever wanted in your life. Peace, harmony, love. You will be so richly rewarded you won't know how to deal with it. But you have to choose that. So he can't force us to bring his kingdom to this earth. He can give us the book and say, read my book. If you find that you like it, then you can create a covenant of your own individually with me in your heart, and I will allow you all of the things in my side of the covenant as well. You follow my side of the covenant, my Bible, individually, and I will follow my side of the covenant, the Father is trying to tell us, and I will provide for you. I will take care of you. I will protect you. I'll make sure you have safe passage through this world. And I will then provide for you this same government system when you're taken into the resurrection. Those who do not want to use their free will and go with the Father's system are then allowed to go with any other system that man can develop. And that's where the free will has to be in place. So the Bible should not have an actual passage in it that says you must go by this Bible as your governance system. And in saying that, in so doing it that way, it's brilliant because he allows us to want that system by faith. Because we've realized it's perfect. We realize that the Father that gave us the breath of life created that rule system just for us so that we can choose that. If he were to make an insistence, a commandment or statute of some kind, or even just a biblical passage that says you must install this Bible and this biblical law system in your society as a governing system, what's that do to the free will? It kicks it right out the window, doesn't it? And it forces us to follow his rules. That's not love. That's not a return love to him in saying, I love your system. You're not a tyrant. You're not an oppressor. I love your system. I want to go with it. So again, does the Bible need a label or verse within it, somewhere in its pages, that tell us to initiate its concepts into action here on earth as a governance system? Do you see where I'm coming from here? Our Father loves us. He said, here's my book. Read it. Please learn to love it like I love you. And if you do learn to love it like I love you, I will protect you individually. I will then, if you pass it on to your family, I will protect all of you as a family. If you then initiate an assembly of people who also love it and want to follow its instructions as verbatim as you can possibly do it, I will then protect your assembly. If your assemblies should spread because you so love this system that you will teach it to others, I can then bless your nation and your society as well. So do we need a label on a bed before we should sleep on it? I mean, a label like, quote, this is a bed. You are to sleep on it. Should that be on the head of the bed before we feel comfortable in crawling under the covers and going to sleep? The Bible is a law book. It is full of laws, statutes, and judgments that are beautiful. The law of Yahweh is perfect. Psalm 19. It's full of tons of stories surrounding those laws that are meant to inspire us to want to use this book to build a kingdom on earth. Should we use this Bible as just a conversation piece sitting on a table when we sit around complaining about the growing oppression? Is it just a coffee table kind of a book? If we are believers and don't think that this book and its amazing contents are good enough to work towards building a society around, then what is it that we then believe that makes us believers? If we don't believe that this book should govern our lives, then there's nothing we believe. Because the entire book is the belief system we're supposed to be believing in. The Father's not a physical being. We can't believe in a spiritual being if we've never seen him. All he has given us to represent him and his character is this book called the Bible. And his character is built of love. It is then extended through this book, through its laws, statutes, and judgments to teach us how to love one another. It's a governance system built on love. Do you believe in this governance system built on love? If you believe in it, then stand with it. If you don't believe in it, you won't stand with it. You'll be lukewarm. You'll be wimpy about it. You'll say, well, maybe, or maybe not someday, but I don't like this rule. I don't like that law. Then don't stand with it. The Father gave you a free will. You can stand with the tyrants and the oppressed if you wish. Some of us are tired of that, and we want something that we don't have to fight for day in and day out once it's implemented. We want to put something in place and allow the Father to protect us. We don't want to have a military that's so huge we have to govern the world by force. I'm getting off on a tangent. You got to stop me once in a while. All right. So if you were given a choice, what color would you want the sky to be? Would you want to pick a new color? Or would you be perfectly content to keep the color that the Father chose for us? But isn't that the nature of sinful man, to want to change the harmony and color schemes of everything the Father so lovingly gave us? Why is it that Yahweh's perfect law system, then, isn't admired by all men, that we should just automatically have such a perfect kingdom or government over us right now? Why does man always want to change the most perfect harmonies under Father's also perfect skies? Some things Yahweh gives us, he gives us full liberty to change. In fact, under his system, we have tons of liberty. The perfect law of liberty, the book of James. It's when man begins to try to take over that law-writing talent of the Father that he gets so numerous and heavy with the laws, codes, ordinances, rules, regulations, doing so to satisfy the super rich when the peasants don't even recognize it, that we always eventually enslave ourselves. We always allow the super rich to grow into a position where they become as gods. Once more, does the Bible come right out and directly say, build a kingdom of biblical justice right here and now on earth? No, not in those exact words, but in words that those who love him with all their hearts, minds, souls, and strength can hear. Passages like, if ye love me, keep my commandments. Wow, I love that one. If we all kept his commandments, the system of biblical governments would just happen all by itself. This is the true result of a society that doesn't just pretend to love him, but really does. Therefore, if it wasn't for the world's fakers or those who only love the gift side of our loving God, we would all actually be in a literal kingdom of Yahweh on earth as it is in heaven. As it would happen on its own with those who truly loved him, just simply living that life, loving the Father back his way, loving others the way we all should, according to his instructions on how that's supposed to work. But those who are not ready to be responsible might say, I don't like that blue color. It looks too strict. It looks too pushy. We can't do everything we want under such unchangeable blue skies. And so they may want to try to remove the blue tones of the sky, along with the corrupt men who want to rule over the peasantry themselves. Now, the peasants have been lulled into a false sense of utopia in wanting the blue gone as well. So they all start erasing the blue color of the sky, tyrant and peasant alike, eventually removing all the color altogether. Now it's transparent. It's clear, they might boast of their work. It's neutral! Yay! Oh boy! Now we can make the sky any color! And the tyrants with their greater, long-term plan continue to encourage the peasants to see it this way, as blue is the only color the tyrants cannot operate under. They are looking at their own color, called hell red. But not just yet. They have to first paint a large part of the sky money green to slowly entice the peasants into their hell red plan. And the money green will also appeal to the peasantry. So, for a few generations, they have to do this. Starting from the original blue color first as they erase that, slowly making it look clear, although they have a little hell red in the corner where they want it. They're little Illuminati symbols, if you will. They're allowing everyone in their camp to know, we're eventually going to change this to hell red. Don't be nervous because it's clear. So they try to get rid of all the colors. They turn it clear, except for a few blue spots they can't get rid of. They're just stubborn blue spots they can't get rid of. But anyway, so they entice the peasants and distract them for a few generations from the original blue color first, then allowing everyone to paint their own colors on the clear sky in their own spots, including those that might want a rainbow color as sodomites. And soon the whole world has their favorite colors spattered like an accidental tapestry all over the sky above them. But it is no longer a relaxing or reassuring sky to look at for anyone, as some colors are truly offensive to others, and fights and chaos break out, and things go crazy. It's all haywire. Where the tyrants had planned this, they take advantage of the chaos and begin replacing all the color patches with their color, hell red. The fearful and the pacifists are the first to lose their newly chosen colors, as they refuse to fight back, and soon all have lost their own preferred colors to the hell red crowd. And so hell red becomes the nation's new lawful standard for sky colors. Yet there are still those few who had never changed their patches of sky from its original blue perfection, where the hell red people then became infuriated, writing a new set of laws that all blue sky people must be ridiculed and pushed out of families, pushed out of friendly circles, and so forth. It was then a struggle for the blue sky people, as they were all the more being called names for wanting to so solidly stick to the original blue sky theme that they loved. They were being called fanatics, legalists, and even pushy, that they had wicked personalities, because they would not choose some shade of hell red now. Yet there were also those who wanted to go back to clear, where everybody was neutral. They argued that the neutral would be happy for everybody. And yes, the hell red elite allowed such talk, as it was not the much hated solid blue that the hell red people wanted to get rid of in the first place, and it was not the solid blue that the hateful blue sky people so cruelly insisted upon that could ruin their oppression over the peasantry. So it wasn't long after that, though, that the hell red leadership announced that any color other than hell red was now unlawful, and those attempting to even think of coloring their parts of the sky with anything but hell red would be executed. But now the multicolor and clear crowd could no longer make a stand against such a decree either, and were forced to back down and get out their red paint buckets. It was only the blue sky people who were loyal to their faith in the blue sky they heard was once so peaceful and loving to live under, who yet remained unwilling to change to hell red, or even the slightest shade of pink in such directions. The hell red elite then made a further decree that anyone caught being tender or sympathetic to these wicked blue sky people would also be punished. So the whole world then ridiculed and tormented the blue sky people all over the globe because of their over-strict and pushy stubbornness to not allow some mixture of other color into their perfectly pure blue parts of the sky. Folks, what should be the ending here? To be continued in part 3. Sorry about that. But we are running out of time, and we'll talk about this some more in part 3, coming up very soon. Stay tuned.